So let's start. On Sunday, we have just to monitor the Chinese cash-in services PMI, and the bias is neutral.
When does the Japanese holiday finish? They were on holiday all last week, so.
Yeah, I think it lasts around 10 days.
Yeah, I'll have to look up WikiLeaks again to find out, but I'll put it in the NewsWatch that I post up. So, sorry, carry on.
But it seems this Sunday is the last day, it seems. So,
okay, good.
Yeah, so Chinese cash-in services PMI, so monitor neutral.
Okay.
Then on Monday, we will have, it's a bank holiday in UK, so we will have, let's see the speech by Williams, first of all, and then Polos. So due to speak at the annual Bronx Bankers Breakfast, so not important. Polos, due to speak about the future of Canada mortgage market, no, not important. Then we have, I will monitor not the retail sales for the Aussie, sorry. We have the Aussie trade balance, major higher time frames, bearish. And we have the Kiwi inflation expectation quarter-over-quarter, major higher time frame to be defined. That's strange that for some time now we don't have the forecast for New Zealand. Then we have a big one, so we have the Aussie cash rate, major plus higher time frames plus and bearish.
Sorry, I had troubles with the keyboard last week. Now I have troubles with my hands. Okay. Gotcha. And this one.
And this one, of course. So bearish.
Bearish. Yep.
Yeah. And you can put it in red.
Yep. Got the paint out.
Then we will have. I will monitor the Euro-German factory orders month-over-month and bullish. Then we will have the pound Halifax HPI month-over-month, major bullish.
It's interesting, it's coming out on oh no, the holiday was on Tuesday. It was the day before, yep.
Then we have Cunliffe talking, right, Cunliffe. So due to speak about financial stability at CFO agenda, so not important in terms of impact, of course. I will possibly simply monitor the Euro EU economic forecasts, then monitor the Spanish 10-year bond auction for those of you who trade bonds. Then we will have the Kiwi GDT price index, major higher time frames to be defined. Then we have Quarles and Haldane's talking. So due to speak about financial regulation at the Leaders Forum discussion, no, not important. Due to deliver speech title, is all economics local at the Sheffield Economy Research Institute? No, not important at all. Then we will have another big one in red, so for the Kiwi. So major plus higher time frame. The official cash rate neutral. And up to the press conference, so same major plus higher time frames and in red. And then we will have the Chinese trade balance to monitor and bullish, as well as the US denominated trade balance and also bullish. And then monitor the 10-year bond auction for the yen.
Okay. Scrolling down.
I will monitor the German industrial production month over month, so bearish. Ah, that's true. It's a French bank holiday, the 8th of May. That's true. Then we have Ramsden talking. Let's see the content of the speech. Due to speak at the Association for Financial Markets in European Post-Trade Conference. No, not important. Then we have to monitor the ECB monetary policy meeting accounts. Then we have Brainard talking. So due to deliver opening remarks at the community listening session, no, not important. Monitor the US dollar crude oil inventories and the 10-year bond auction.
Yep.
And then I will monitor the two Chinese inflation measurements, CPI and PPI, even if they are year over year. So bullish for the CPI and bullish for the PPI.
Okay. Based on what happened last week, it seems that Chinese news is impacting New Zealand and Australia more these days.
Yeah, perhaps.
So
then we have the CAD trade balance major higher time frames to be defined. Then we have Powell speaking. Due to the opening remarks, so let's forget. Then I will simply monitor the US dollar PPI month over month and core PPI month over month. For the PPI, it's bearish, and for the core PPI, it's bearish too. And then we have the trade balance, so major higher time frames, bearish, a bit bearish. The unemployment claims are never important for USA, at least in the Forex. Then monitor the natural gas storage and the 30-year bond auction.
Yep.
Monitor, not major higher time frames. Monitor.
Why did I do that?
I don't know.
That must have been somebody else. Oscar.
Oscar, perhaps.
Yep.
And then we will have also an important one, the Aussie Reserve Bank of Australia monetary policy statement, so major higher time frames.
Okay. And I'll scroll down.
Okay, and on Friday, we will have, where are we? We are here. The pound GDP month over month, major higher time frames, bearish. The manufacturing production month over month, major bearish. The preliminary GDP quarter over quarter, major higher time frames, bullish. And then we will have another big one, which is the CAD employment change and unemployment rate. It's the Canadian non-farm payroll. So major higher time frames, but to be defined. Then if you would like to scroll down the calendar.
Sorry.
Okay, then we will have the US dollar CPI month over month. Not really a major, but in the present context, so I will consider it as a major. Normally it's a type B news presently, but we are perhaps in a bubble phase in terms of the economic cycle, so it becomes a major, higher time frames. So for the CPI month over month, neutral.
So you do want higher time frames?
Yes.
Okay.
Neutral, and for the core CPI, bullish.
Okay.
And then we have Brainard talking again. Due to the opening remarks, so let's forget. And then we will have the US dollar federal budget balance to monitor and bearish.
Okay. Okay, now the incantation. So if anybody's got any questions about that, if you think we've made a mistake or something, or I've made a mistake, let me know. So the idea of this NewsWatch list is to prepare you for expected unexpected events coming up. So if there's news coming out and we've marked it as major, then if you're trading anything under the 4-hour time frame, under it, then don't place any orders within 1 hour of the news coming out, and get out of it within the half hour prior. For those of you doing SAM or standard with multiple units, you could perhaps just pair off the units and not actually exit the trade completely. The reason that we don't trade through the news is because it can be really spiky at the time, and those spikes, the volatility, can impact your account. So we want to protect your account, being super risk averse here. If you're not in a trade already, then just wait for the news to come out. The items that are marked H4 plus, it means that anything sort of above from the H4 time frame onwards could be impacted by the news as well. So not just the lower time frames, the big ones. For the higher time frames, if you're, say, trading a daily chart, you still only need to get out of it within half an hour of the news coming out. Like, for instance, non-farm payroll. You don't need to wait 6 bars beforehand, which would be like a week. It's just a non-farm payroll is a bit important, but maybe an hour or 2 hours prior to it, just depends on what the market's doing. You would get out and don't place any orders before it, like, for instance, on that particular day. Okay, the bias that we've got here is based on what the, let me see, where are we? Where's that USD? Here we go. The difference between what came out last month and what's expected this month. And so because these are both the same, there's very little difference, so we've marked it as a neutral item. Eusebio has. And he explained it in the course yesterday. But if this one is expected to be better than the previous, so we've marked it as a bullish bias, and if it was less, it would be marked as bearish. It gets a bit messy when you get same currency coming out, like the pound, and it's marked as bearish and bullish. You're going to have to write that one yourself. So it just gives you some idea. So if you're getting into a currency with the pound, of giving you an idea on how strong or weak the pound might be at the time. Like I said, it's messy and it can take months to get your head around this sort of stuff. What else do I need to go through? Oh, yeah. There are 3 major currencies, the euro, the US, and the yen. Here we go. Any news coming up on those, it doesn't matter what pair you're in, the half hour and 1 hour applies to these, to any other pair that you're getting into. So even if you're in the Kiwi New Zealand pair that doesn't have the yen or the euro or the dollar in it, they can still be impacted by these ones because they're such major currencies. The pound, okay, we'll come back to the pound. If you're getting into, if there's news coming up, on, for instance, on the Aussie, there may not be as much of an impact on the other pairs that don't involve the Aussie dollar. So, for instance, if you're in the pound Swiss or the euro pound or the pound dollar, and there's news coming up on the Aussie, just be aware of it. You don't necessarily need to stop your trading because of the Aussie news coming up. However, having said that, I have seen news come up on the Kiwi, which made all the pairs jump because it was such a surprise. So still be aware of it. And the pound kind of straddles the two of them. It just depends on what it's doing, how volatile it is. It could just, the news coming up on that could impact the pair that you're in or not. So these days, I'd be careful of the pound. Not so much. The Brexit mania seems to have died off a bit at the moment. It's bound to start ramping itself up again, but yeah, it seems to have quietened down, so any news coming up on the pound may still cause it to jump, but it doesn't seem to be flopping around as much as it used to. Okay, any other? Nope, that'll do. So the other thing that we do here is we check out the top 10 pairs, and we've got them over here, and the the range of the pairs is getting really poor. These are the official, well, actually, these ones here. What we generally do is we sort the pairs by their average daily dollar range, not the pip range, but the dollars. And these are the only ones that qualify, these 3 here, this week for our top 10. We pick ones that are supposed to be about $750. So pound yen just maybe squeaks in if we're a bit more fluid with things. But I've extended the top 10 pair out down to the pound Swiss, I think. Oh, we'll see when we flip over.
Yeah, include also the Euro Kiwi, Chris.
Okay.
Because we have important major important news on the Kiwi this week.
Okay, cool. Pound dollar used to be paper. Thanks, Robert. Okay, but as you can see, the range has been dropping off since I started this back in February. It was 1330, went up during the Brexit era, and now it's dropped down considerably, down to $800 range. And this is the maximum for the top pair that came out at the time. So just to give you an idea on what's going on. The way I worked this out, Ralph, this is for you, because Ralph asked a double banger question, and I'll come to the second part of it. But I go to MATAF, I type in 4 here to get an average of the volatility over the past 4 weeks. And it produces this list of pairs down here with their average dollar daily range as well as their average pips. And so I copy this out, put it into the spreadsheet, and print out all the silly ones like the CAD Hong Kong and stuff like that. So we're left with the 28 majors. Sort them by their average dollar daily range, so the best movers bubble to the top, and that gives me the range for the past week in the top 10. And by keeping track of it, as I'm doing at the moment, you can see if the ranges are getting tighter or smaller. About a year or two ago, I was complaining about how small it was when it was around about, I think it was under $2,000. Now it's say a third to a quarter of what I was complaining about then, and it can still get worse. So the ranges are really tight. You have to be really precise about what you're doing when you're trading, very careful. Okay, enough Trumpism. So what I've done here is I've pulled them across. I have done it okay. Here for Eusebio to go through the quotation marks top 10 pairs and match them up with the prices so that we get the best pairs to trade on a particular day. So, Eusebio,
okay.
Your turn.
Okay. So before starting this part, so let me just take, before I forget, a word about the Brexit, because you have said the Brexit seems to progressively going down, but it's not true. In fact, there has been very recent local election in UK,
yes.
And the two traditional parties, the Labour and the Tories, have had a very, very severe defeat. So, and this has been a big signal for them. They are urged to accelerate the Brexit, because the people want the application of the referendum about the Brexit. And so I believe that we will see accelerate about the Brexit in UK in the very future days. So we have more than ever to pay attention to the Brexit, in fact, in UK.
Cool. Okay, thanks, Eusebio. I did see the elections.
If you observe carefully some polls, for example, you will see that Farage is again organizing another party who has incredibly increased in UK and is very high in the polls. So this is also an indication that the people want the Brexit. So even a no-deal Brexit. So we have to pay attention for that. Okay, let's go now on the selected pair, the suggested pair for each week of the day. So, what do we get for Monday? Okay. For Monday, we have nothing special, so we have just to follow our usual matrix. So, first of all, the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie, and then we can take the pound CAD and then the pound yen.
Okay. Next day. Sorry, this is a long way away. Next day, we've got the Aussie.
So we have the Aussie and we have the Kiwi. So yep. Kiwi. Then we will have
the Euro.
So the Euro, and
the pound.
The pound. pound, 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 and pound. That's all. Okay. So we will have, so for the first pair, I will consider again the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie, then the euro Kiwi, and then the pound CAD.
Okay.
For Wednesday.
Okay.
Starting the Tuesday at 5 p.m. So we have the Kiwi, then we have
the CAD.
We have the...
Oh, sorry, that's on the Thursday. Sorry. Nothing else.
Okay, we have only the Kiwi. So this means that the first pair will be, as usual, the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie. Then again, the euro Kiwi. And then the pound CAD.
Okay. Wednesday.
We have made Wednesday. We are now on Thursday.
No.
But Wednesday, 5 p.m. Yeah.
I didn't make a mistake. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Good. Wednesday, nothing on Wednesday. And we've got the CAD.
The CAD, yeah.
And the US dollar.
The US, yes.
That's it. C2.
And, yeah, okay. So we will have let's say, the pound CAD or the pound US dollar. Then the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie. So the pound US dollar or pound CAD.
Sorry. Yep. Sorry.
Then
what was
pound Kiwi or pound Aussie.
Yep.
And then the pound yen.
Okay. And
for Friday.
Okay, we've got the Aussie from Thursday.
We got the Aussie, yes, okay.
And the pound.
Then we have the pound, 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 and pound. And then we have the CAD, yeah. And
the US.
US dollar. Oh, we have a lot of choices that day.
Yep.
So the first choice will be the pound Kiwi or pound Aussie. Then we have to consider again the pound CAD or the pound US dollar. And then the pound yen.
Okay. Okay, we have a top three, and we ended up with 5 choices.
Yeah.
Oh well,
yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, but precisely when we have so tight ranges, it's perhaps better to diversify a little more the possibilities to consider.
Yep. I'm just saving this. This is why it's gone like that. Okay, cool. So what I'll... Oh, and there's one more thing, Eusebio. Interestingly, and I was a bit surprised to find out that there'd been British elections because it didn't come up here.
No, because there are local elections.
Okay. Right. Yeah, because suddenly some of the Brits that I follow were all aghast at it, and it was sort of a bit of a surprise. Okay, so back over here, we have the global situations, global context. So any changes to be made in this lot, Eusebio?
No, we have to pay attention more than ever to the Brexit, so due to these local elections and the signal they have sent to the government. So, and no, nothing else has changed for the moment.
Okay. Down here, nothing?
No.
Syria seems to be getting nastier still. Okay, cool. Thank you. So I'll put all these up properly while Eusebio's presenting. Does anybody have one here? I guess not. Nothing has come through. If you do, please ask and we'll come back to it. So I'll just small that. And Eusebio, you've already sort of warned us about Brexit, and we're not there yet. What happened with the non-farm payroll? It was expected to...
Yeah, indeed. Can you do the first factory calendar and show the numbers we
Sure.
got for the non-farm payroll and the unemployment rate?
Yep. Here we go.
Yeah, you see, we have for the non-farm payroll 263K compared to 181, which is more than 80. It is 80,000 K as a positive deviation. This is more than the usual threshold on the non-farm payroll, and we have 3.6% instead of 3.8% for the unemployment rate. So we have also a decrease, an important decrease in the unemployment rate. So the two numbers are positive numbers with big positive surprise. And so normally we should have seen the US dollar strengthening. And so a pair like the pound US dollar going downward. Can you show now the pound US dollar,
Sure.
please, for example?
Yep. Okay, so there's the New York Open.
Yeah. And so we have here with the non-farm payroll. And so normally with the US dollar strengthening, we should have seen the pound US dollar going downward. But in fact, we have seen the pound US dollar going upward, showing the US dollar has weakened. So we have seen the US dollar weakening. So what has happened, in fact? So the non-farm payroll is always a very important news release, which is closely watched by the big trader, the big boys, because it is the first important economical data at the beginning of each new month. So they pay extreme attention to the non-farm payroll. However, there is another factor, a driving factor, which is much more important than the non-farm payroll. It is the interest rates. And so this does not happen very often, but when it happens, we have these movement in the opposite direction of what the news is telling. And what has happened? In fact, we have seen from that day a drop in the interest rates, in the yields of some bonds, of some treasury notes. And with the yields dropping, in fact, this means that this is less interesting for the US dollar. A drop in the interest rates so means a weakness for the US dollar. And this is much more important than the non-farm payroll. So, in fact, when we consider an important news release, we have also to consider what is happening with the treasury notes and bonds yields. So you have, for example, the 2 years treasury note, you have the 3 year, the 5 year, the 10 years, the 30 years T-bonds, because their nominal interest rate, of course, does not change once they are issued, but their yields will change day after day depending on the price of the treasury notes itself. And if the big investors decide for any reason to buy more bonds, to buy more treasury notes, the price of these instruments will rise and their yields consequently will decrease. And this is what we have seen, and so this is not good for the US dollar, in fact. And this is why the US dollar has weakened this Friday, and because this factor, economic factor, is much more important than the non-farm payroll,